So good evening. This is Danielle Hairston Green. I'm the administrator for PhD Singles. PhD Singles have been in existence since November of 2015. And the focus of PhD Singles is really to gather a group of scholars who have either obtained their doctorate degree or who are trying to pursue their doctorate degree, and gather them into a common space so we can discuss issues about being single. So what's fortunate about this group is that we are considered kind of an anomaly because research shows that it's less than 2% of us, African American and specifically women, who are doctorate holding individuals, but less than 2%, over across the board African American. And so what makes it more difficult is that we often have different types of struggles when it comes down to dating, and so we formed a group called PhD Singles. There were some really intense conversations in our Facebook group, and we thought maybe we should take some of those conversations out to the public, and so we started our Blab discussion. And so this is our third Blab. And we've had some really enlightening conversations. Our host that's usually with us, Raymond, he is not able to come in today. So I'm taking over as host and trying to do a little bit of engineering at the same time. So forgive me if I'm a little slow at responding to some of your questions and concerns as we're moving forward. But don't be shy, ask questions, jump in a seat, and let us know what your thoughts are. So today's topic is gender differences and how do you define single? And we are joined by Mr. Andy Brown, who is a certified professional coach. And we're so excited to have Andy here with us today. We're hoping that we get some really good insight from Andy in terms of his experience and some of his background in terms of dealing with single life and dealing with individuals as he's coaching them in his community. Since 2009, Andy Brown is the host of the online Happy Hour. He was first appearing on Blog Talk Radio, most recently on the DFWI radio, and now on TMIradio.com. This show is a weekly internet radio show based in Grand Prairie, Texas, that discusses social issues of family, finances, religion, and relationships. His show brings a conscious comedic awareness to the online community and allows his studio guests and nationwide audience the opportunity to express their thoughts as it relates to the given topic. Andy is also an author of an awesome book called Second Place Women Who Come In First, and it is also an award-winning play. And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to see the play, but from what I've seen on his Facebook page, it was a great play, and hopefully we'll be able to be blessed having him bring it to Prairie View A&M University. So without further ado, we just want to welcome Mr. Andy to our show. Hi, Andy.
Hello, good evening. How's everybody doing?
Well, I'm doing great. I don't know about our listeners. Our listeners.
Shout out to everybody chiming in the chat room.
Yeah. So I'm delighted that you have joined us today to talk a little bit about these gender differences in terms of what people believe is the true definition of single. So we've had this ongoing conversation on our Facebook group and differences of opinion about what single is. We've actually kicked people out of our group because we thought that they were booed up. And so, so now, we're opening up this discussion to really, drill down and figure out what is the true definition of single and what are the gender differences. So, I want to first open it up by sharing a little bit of reflection of some research that I found. And it was really enlightening. It was in this magazine or in this online magazine called Psychology Today. And it was written by Dr. Bella DePaulo, and she's the author of the book entitled Singled Out: How Singles Are Stereotyped, Stigmatized, and Ignored and Still Live Happily Ever After. Now, the article was written about 5 years ago, but she was addressing questions that some of her followers was asking regarding how do you define single. In her response, she had actually drafted an article that actually underscored the single definition, and said that it has more than just one meaning. And so what she said was she thinks thinks about the term single in three different ways. She looks at it as one, legally being single; two, socially being single. Basically, what other people see. So if other people look at you and they think that you're single, or they're thinking that you're carrying yourself as single, then that's considered socially single. And then three, personally single. So despite what your current situation is, if you personally believe that you are single, then that's exactly what you are. So what do you think about that?
Is she referring to being a mindset?
Say it again.
Is single being her mindset?
Yeah, personal. Like when she talks about personally being single, what she says is when you're personally single, you are thinking of yourself as single. Like you in your mind believe that you're single irregardless of your current situation. So you could be dating someone, and it could be casual to you. Perhaps the other person may think that it's more committed, but you're believing that it's single or casual, and so you're carrying yourself as single. But the more legal part of it is, you're not married. So, society says that if you are not married, then you will carry the banner of single. So those were the three categories that she placed it in.
Okay. Well, I'm agreeing with part of that. Being single, by definition, is being unmarried or not involved in a romantic relationship, if you will. But if you are involved with someone and their feelings, and they've shared these feelings with that other person, and it's reciprocated, then you, sir, ma'am, are not single. What you're doing is you're leading people on. You're setting yourself up for a terrible, terrible situation that could cause some heartbreak, some damaged items, some nasty social media posts, and even some life-threatening situations. You don't know how people are going to react when they put their emotions involved in this. So if you are truly single, then there shouldn't be any confusion on the other part of the person that you're quote unquote dating.
Okay.
That's just being real. You have to be honest with yourself and honest with people who are around you. In everything that we do, we have to be able to communicate, biblically stating, in everything that you get some understanding. So if you're not allowing the other person to understand your status, your single status, then you're setting yourself up for a lot of heartache and problems.
Okay, so what do you think about her statement when she talks about socially single? If you're not in a romantic relationship, and other people regard as serious, so, if someone is trying to maybe hook you up with someone else, and they know that you're dating, but they don't think that you're serious in that relationship because they haven't seen it based on their definition of a serious committed relationship, then in their mind, socially, you're single. What do you think about that statement?
The problem with that is there's a issue with the communication. Somebody believes that, but they're not quite sure themselves. So if the person that they're trying to hook up isn't necessarily giving off and letting people know that, hey, I'm dating other people, and this situation I'm in is somewhat serious, but it's not, but they're open to it, that's one thing. But if the person that they're trying to quote unquote hook up, just because they may not like that other person that they're with, or they don't see it going a certain way, or they're trying to make a quote unquote love connection without their consent or without the other person's knowledge, again, you're setting yourself up for a nasty, nasty situation that can happen later on. It's not fair to the person that wasn't there, that doesn't know that the person they're involved with is being hooked up. And it's not even fair to the new person who's coming in, who may have been, you don't know their intentions. Are they looking to be married, or are they looking to just casually date? Who knows what they're going to do? So you have to really be honest and open with communication while you're dating. It has to happen.
Okay. And so do you, what is your opinion about the timeline when an individual is dating? Is there a particular amount of time that you will spend with someone before you consider that as a serious committed relationship? How do you define, at what point does that relationship become serious and committed?
You commit to what you give. If you're going to just give just enough as far as maybe a social media presence, that's your relationship. You have a social media relationship. If you have a relationship where you're just intimate and intimate only, then that is your relationship. Whatever you're serious about going in, and it can develop later on and do more. But if you're just saying, hey, you know what, I just need somebody to talk to, then that's your relationship. Or if I just need somebody just to hang out with, then that is your relationship. People take that for granted, and they don't really get involved and say, well, it's just something light, it's not very serious. Well, no, that is your relationship. You just have to give yourself credit and allow somebody else or even that other person to know that that's where they stand with you.
Okay. So how do you think some of that discussion that Dr. Paolo mentioned in her article, how does that align with some of the writings of your book?
We're going to go down the same path on some things, but then we're going to have a nasty split as far as where they're looking to go. If they're trying to divide that level of being single up into different categories, then again, you're hurting yourself. My book, Second Place Women Who Come In First, discusses that when we talk about the interaction between a man who is married, yet he finds himself wanting to be with somebody else. Well, why are you letting this person in? From the wife standpoint, now that I know this is happening, I know that there's somebody else. But how am I communicating that to my significant other? You don't just say, well, he's married, but he's okay to date somebody else. Really? Honestly,
hold your book up again. I need you to hold it up so that our viewers can see that.
Absolutely.
So that's Second Place Women Who Come In First, and they can get that on Amazon.com.
Amazon.com. You can get it Barnes & Noble Nook. If you're a Sony e-reader, you can do that as well. The paperback books are available by order at Barnes & Noble. Many college campuses are now carrying this book for study groups as well. And you can locate it here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area at any one of the Pan-African stores that are in the area.
Okay. All righty. So our listeners, I don't hear anything from you guys. What do you have to say about some of the discussions that we've had so far? Any questions? Any thoughts? Anybody have a burning thought that you want to jump in this hot seat real quick?
Well, until we hear from them, let me ask this question. The writer of this article, what does she consider herself? Does she consider herself single? Is she involved with anyone? Or probably wouldn't allow herself to say that, right?
You know, I think at the time she wrote this article, she was, and she's done some extensive research on this particular topic. And in fact, you can find her peer-reviewed journal article online if you if you go into Google Scholar and type in her name. There is some extensive work that she's done in this particular area. And one of the reasons why she did the research was because there was so much discrimination around the status of being single. That the ultimate gift and the ultimate goal is to be married, and to have a single status was somewhat, perhaps taboo. And she wanted to do some research around that. And it kind of yielded some really great results. So I would encourage you guys, if you haven't read any of her articles, her name is Dr. Paulo, Dr. DePaulo, Dr. Bella DePaulo, DePaulo. Check her out. Again, she's written a book called Singled Out: How Singles Are Stereotyped, Stigmatized, and Ignored, and Still Live Happily Ever After. In fact, she co-wrote an article with a woman named Wendy Morris, and it was entitled "The Unrecognized Stereotyping and Discrimination Against Singles." And in her article, she she states that impressions of seriousness are shaped by factors such as the length of time the twosome has been together, the regularity and exclusivity with which they see each other, whether they seem to intend to stay together, and whether they live together. So whether other people see you as part of a couple, which is your social status, can be more significant to your everyday life and how other people treat you than your legal status. So, that was pretty critical for her. And that's why she wanted to do some extensive research on that particular topic. So anyone out here in the audience, y'all don't want to say nothing. See, y'all get real quiet when we have yet they have so much to say when we're in our Facebook page. Is out of control sometimes. But when we come into the live chat, they get pretty quiet.
There's a comment that I see on Q that is, if you take into account those who just got out of the pandemic. So that's a good point. Check this out. You have people who are still hung up on previous relationships that when they actually get involved with somebody new, they say that they're single, but they're still holding on to previous issues.
Right.
Whether that crappy marriage has really messed their mind up going future, somebody with a new relationship brings up or does something that reminds them of somebody else. Now their mind is all screwed. Well, he must be going to do the same thing that this person did. And that's wrong. We have to allow ourselves a little bit of time to heal before we move on and move forward. Because if you're still doing that, then you're changing your own personal category.
Right.
Yeah, I'm still single. Oh my God, I'm hurt now because this new person is doing the same things and showing those same actions. Well, how am I going to react to that? What am I going to do? Are they going to do the same thing to me? Heal first. Get over that.
Right.
And it's not fair to the new person coming in. It's totally not. We got to allow ourselves a little bit of time to heal and get some counseling.
And it's interesting that you bring that point up. We had a discussion. I stimulated the discussion by talking about a date that I had went on and how this particular individual was frustrated because every time they call me, they couldn't get me. And everybody knows, if you know me and you love me, I'm horrible with the phone. I don't, that's not a, indicator of how much I care about you. I'm just horrible, with being on the phone because I'm face to face. But, he was very upset that I could not, I would not respond immediately when the phone rang. Instead I would call back. Maybe that next 5 minutes or maybe the next hour. And so after we had a conversation, and I listened to him, I realized that he was dealing with some other stuff, so when his ex wasn't responding, that was connected to some negativity that she may have been doing or that he had discovered that she had been doing. And he was projecting all of that on me. And initially I started to become defensive because, I felt like he was coming at my credibility, like, wait a minute, that's not me. I don't do things like that. And I had to pause and realize, okay, he needs to heal. He's going to do something real messy. He needs to stay single for a while and get to know himself for a while before he gets into another relationship.
That's bad. We do it to ourselves unconsciously, and it's something that really causes more problems because you're gonna change your own personal title. You're not gonna allow yourself to totally be into somebody else if you're holding on to hurt from a previous relationship. It's really unfair. Right. It's unfortunate to do it. I can't do it. It's not gonna happen. Sorry. So one of our members has posted, there's a good amount of people in the group that are still holding on to past hurts and pain. Easier to say that you've let go of all the wrongs than to actually be completely free of all the wrongs. Time heals all wounds, I hear though. What do you think about that comment? Does time heal all wounds? Sometimes. Sometimes there are people still walking around in their 30s and 40s, still mad at the person who broke their heart during their junior prom. You still haven't gotten over that quote unquote rejection. So you're still living in that. Your best friend took the guy or the girl that you wanted to date, and they're married, living happily ever after, and you're sitting back watching all their happy Facebook posts. You can't heal from all that because you're still stuck in that. So if you really have to change your mind about that relationship, your mindset does heal all wounds. And it also depends on when you're going to allow your mind to say, you know what, bump this, I'm over that.
Right.
When can I move forward, and when can I really get over this situation? Because if you just allow yourself to do that, I mean, there could be an old song that comes on the radio that'll trigger your mind back to the same old thing or that same emotional setback.
Mm-hmm.
And if you find yourself crying over that, then you haven't allowed yourself to heal.
Right. Yeah.
So we have to just find a place to say, you know what, I'm going to change. I'm going to move forward, or connect with someone that totally allows you to take your mind off of that person,
Right.
so that you can move forward in a different direction. We have to do it.
So we have Lenny. Lenny's on our live chat also, and I see he posts some things, and he's very active on our PhD Singles chat and Facebook group, and I think he's going to be a future well-renowned therapist, because he's always giving our participants some therapy advice. But Lenny, do you want to jump into this hot seat so that you can give us your thoughts and opinions about this? Where you at? Where you at? Is he coming in? Yay, come on in. So just click in the call in, and I'll bring you in. Thank you for clapping for Lenny. We want him to come in. He has great insight. Okay.
This is good. This is good. We need to share this with more people.
Yeah. So it's going to be recorded, as I mentioned before, so this will be great. Hey, Lenny.
Hey, can you hear me?
You in the flesh, not just on the black and white, just type in.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Okay.
So Andy, this is Lenny. He's one of our members for PhD Singles, as I mentioned to you before. Always giving us some great insight and feedback about grieving and pain and hurt and, secrets, family secrets and things of that nature.
Yes.
I think that him and I have actually had, chats back and forth personally, just kind of talking about some of the things that I was going through. And so, Lenny, I want you to share some of your insight about this topic.
Well, we are attracted to people who remind us of the parent or caretaker we had the hardest time with. So subconsciously, what plays out is the reenactment of what I grew up with. And so for a long time, before my very expensive education, if you were to line up all the women that I dated, they were cookie cutters. Because my mom was abusive to me. So I was attracted to women who were going to hurt me, trying to get from them what I should have gotten from my mom.
Right.
That was the first 100,000.
Liar.
So, but yeah, a lot of what you're saying is accurate, because what we do is we play these things out. And all of your childhood stuff is going to come up in a relationship. That's the only place it comes out. So it makes sense that a lot of this drama that we see on the surface is nowhere near as much drama as is underneath what's going on with that person. So I think it's very accurate what you're saying.
So what do you think about, because oftentimes when we're on our Facebook group, you are able to kind of sit back and listen to some of the feedback that our participants are giving one another about particular topics. And, you get a lot of lashing from the ladies when you're saying the truth, you're giving them the truth. How do you feel about that? And what is your response to how they respond to your truth?
Well, some people stay in their heads. If I stay in my head, I'm not going to let you in. So, and if the evidence is contrary to what I already have set up, then it's going to be met with resistance. That's classic. And I like to delve into things that people are very uncomfortable talking about. And sometimes I have to watch it because I'm not in a therapeutic setting. But the things that are just so common to me, I see in quite a few hundreds of clients that I've seen. There's a pattern, and these patterns are made manifest in the relationship, and depending on how much you've been able to reconcile, how much you've been able to differentiate from your family, how much of your family stuff is coming out in the relationship. So if you were the caretaker child in your family, and every child, depending on the sibling order and how many siblings you have, every sibling plays a different role. And what I'll do is I'll be attracted to someone who's going to allow me to play that role in a love relationship.
What do you think about that, Andy? What are your thoughts about that?
It's tough for me to identify as an only child. Sometimes I don't have that the benefit of seeing that with different siblings. I can relate it to peers, if you will. Just allowing myself to be around certain, sorority sisters or neighbors or some of my fraternity brothers and things like that, even members of teams that I played on. So you find those characteristics and you gravitate toward that. Right. It's very similar because you feel a sense of wanting to go back and how can I change this myself? If I were in a position of control, how would I actually do this? How would I get through this situation? And you try to find yourself trying to fix that situation. If I could do a little bit differently, how would I handle that? And you can put yourself in a nasty roller coaster if you're not careful and you're doing it for the wrong reasons. I see where you're going with that, man. That's real.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that there is a stark difference between the way women handle that situation versus the way men handle it, or do you think generally the same?
It's going to be different based on your generation and your upbringing. Some of us were brought up with siblings, with family members. Others allow the music to dictate how you're being raised. What type of influence you have, whether you're listening to Babyface tell you how to handle your relationship, or you're listening to E.E. tell you how to handle your relationship. It's going to be totally different. And where you gravitate the most energy towards, and how you see women or how you view other your dating situations can alter that.
Okay. So what is your thoughts, Lenny? You think there's a huge gender difference in the way people handle those situations?
Well, I'm doing part of my dissertation is on narcissism, and I used to think that that it was around 10-15%. That number is escalated to about 50% now. So you're dealing with some people who have narcissistic wounding. So if I were a child and I didn't get that feedback that all parts of me was okay, if I had a parent who was kind of cold or distant or trying to handle some things of their own, that they couldn't be there for me. So when you grow up with a child, you grow up with this who am I? But I can only experience myself when I look at you looking at me. That's when I experience myself. So you don't get a lot of that growing up. It's a setup for being attracted to people who give you that feedback, that edification, that you're okay. And you can get caught in a pattern or a loop where it just never ceases. And that's the beginning of the narcissistic boulder rolling down the hill. So it's men handle it different, women handle it different. More guys are narcissistic. However, that number is also creeping up among women as well.
Okay. Well, it looks like someone's trying to get in this seat also. Let's see what he has to say about this topic. Hopefully we don't experience what we experienced the last time.
What's Somebody's chiming in.
Somebody's chiming in. Hey, you're upside down. Can you hear us? We can't hear you. So we're unable to hear you. So maybe there's something wrong with your sound.
Hello. Hello. Hello, my friend.
Hello. Can you hear us?
Where are you from? Where are you from?
Oh, we're from United States. Are you from the country?
I'm from Morocco.
Morocco.
I'm
Okay.
from Morocco.
Do you have any comments about our topic, gender differences, and how do you think that is different?
I'm not here. I am not here. I am not here. I am not here. Bien, I am not here.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for jumping in the seat.
Hey, shout out to Morocco.
Shout out to Morocco. We've had some interesting people log in since we've started, but thank you for chiming in and try to join us. So let me share with you another reflection. I looked at an article on a Huffington Post, and they were discussing the whole thing about defining single also. You know, they wanted to find out from their readers what they thought about being single and how do they define single life. And so some of their readers was responding, you know, how they felt about being single. And some of the quotes was, single means to me having no one to answer to but myself. Single means to me learning who you really are and what you truly want. I can do what I damn well please without having to walk on eggshells anymore. Another person said, I'm free. I'm no longer held emotionally hostage. Another person said, no more drama. And then we had someone else says, not being lied to was their definition of being single. Another reader said, freedom, options, independence, worry-free, and sucker-free. So that was the definition. And then another one says, not trading integrity for company. What do you guys think about those quotes regarding what single meant to these individuals?
You're just happy to be out of bad relationships.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's nothing in that at all. You're just happy to be out of bad relationships. Now, if you were happy, there would be no comments or posts like that. I see this all the time in social media where we have people make posts and say things like, well, a real man is never coming from a married woman. Mm-hmm. It's always coming from a place of somebody who's always hurt, who's looking for rubbing their legs like a cricket trying to be recognized out there in social media. Hey, I've been come and fix me, come and heal me because I'm hurt and I need a hug or I need some kind of attention over here. Mm-hmm. All that Richard, what you're saying is I've been hurt and I don't want to go back to that particular hurt no more, and I'm in a place where I can vent. Mm-hmm. Bottom line. So if you're really in a situation where you enjoy it, there's no need to complain or really drop eggs on that. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Lenny?
Well, we only hear one side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So if I'm a victim here and you don't know who I was involved with or you don't know the extent of the relationship, you're only getting one side of it. So I'm automatically dialing into, okay, and it was horrible, it was bad, it was this, that, and just all this evidence. And then it's like, okay, I wonder what would the other person say about you. And I remember bringing that up in the post one day, and it was kind of like quiet afterwards. And so, because all y'all ain't victims. So
yeah,
some of you are perpetrators. So,
right. Everybody wants to be a victim. I think it's easy, to kind of process through what went wrong in a relationship. You know, I'm a victim, you know. And I think one of the things, I think I chimed in and you know, I didn't really have, I think that there were some parts of it that I played in, of course, you know, in the ending of any relationship, because I believe at the end of the day, I'm the common denominator in every relationship that I'm ever going to be in. And so I had to have some responsibility. You know, I can't pretend like there's no responsibility there. But I don't have to throw eggs, you know, at anybody, you know, because I know that there's a part that I played in, and I'm thankful for those journeys. You know, I'm thankful for the experience, and I don't think that I would change it because there's some growth that has happened as a result of all, you know, the two long-term relationships that I've had. There was a lot of growth, you know, for me, and a lot of exposure to things that I would not have been exposed to otherwise. So, but I think it's definitely easier for people to play the victim, you know.
You got a problem, man. You're having, and that's that whole thing about healing. You haven't allowed yourself to heal and get over that. We carry those things for God knows how long, and it's unfair. It kind of builds a little cancerous issue inside of us because we don't allow ourselves to heal from it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Counseling is very important.
Absolutely. And have you guys experienced the counseling side of a relationship? So in the beginning of it and the conclusion of it, or in the midst of your relationships, have you ever had to just break down and go and get counseling? And was that as a result of a marriage trying to be mended, or just a committed relationship that you were in?
For me, it was just a trial, just to see where things were going. Going in, I myself was very closed-minded. Why would I want to do this? You can't tell me how to fix my relationship. You don't know anything about me. You're not in the house. You can't really critique what's going on. But if you give that person an outside perspective of what's going on and clinically proven, there are patterns that we just don't pay attention to.
Right.
So if we just come to a place where we say, hey, you know what, I need to change. What can I do to change this situation? And am I willing to change, first of all? We can put ourselves in a better situation to either grow the relationship to another level, or find out that this really isn't going to work and make room for somebody else who can better assist that person in their relationship situation.
Okay. What are your thoughts, Lenny?
Well, I have to separate therapy and counseling. Okay.
Okay.
Counseling's like a pill. Therapy is like a needle. So I'm going go all the way. It's going to really hurt. And, you know, I see so many people come in and I just, when I brush that relationship scab, you kind of get that ouch, you know, especially when you tie it into, you know, because I'm going to start unpacking some things. That because I'll get the victim thing too. Everybody come in and, hey, I was doing wrong, yada yada. Okay, so let's start to look at your part in all this, because no one wants. Everybody thinks they're perfect, right. and that's. I think once you can break past that level of resistance, that hey, you have some culpability in the demise of your relationship, you know. That's when things are starting. That's when things start to open up, and it's rapport building that may take 3 sessions to even just get comfortable with the fact that you're gonna let somebody else in your head, and those of us who are survivors learn to stay in our heads because it's safe here. You can't you know. You can't come in. Everything in my world, I am the king of. I am 100% right. I'm not going to open up my door and let you challenge my native beliefs. And it's hard. It's hard. A lot of people can't make that transition. So.
Anyone out here in the live chat want to jump in the seat? You have a comment, question, or something that you would like Mr. Lenny or Mr. Andy to address directly?
Levels of being single. That's new for me. To hear somebody actually say that there's different levels of being single. You either are or you're not. And if you're choosing to do that, and because you got to think about it, man. If you're telling one person, well, I'm on this level of being single, and you find somebody else who either meets a different criteria or somebody that you may think that you're interested in, well, I'm on this level of being single. Or if you meet someone who's totally not into you, but you're totally into them, your level of single is going to change also. Is that fair? Man, that sounds like it's setting you up for a nasty roller coaster of failure. That's going to be painful. How do you even get out of that? Because once you get involved with someone and you got these other people thinking that you're single, here come the romance holidays. Here come the Christmas, the Thanksgiving. Where do you separate and spend this single time that you have? You gotta watch yourself with that, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Find yourself in Jasmine Sullivan situations, man. It some busted windows in your car and some somebody put something in your food because don't put yourself in that kind of situation.
Yeah.
We lose our hope.
Uh-oh.
We lose our hope. Uh-oh.
I think so.
Well, hopefully she'll be back on. I'd love to hear more of a female perspective on this, because if we got, if ladies are telling men, I've seen this sometimes, they'll tell certain guys that they're single because it fits a criteria that they think that they want to pursue. There was a post that I actually posted in a social group.
We try to keep our Blab discussions fairly short. And give our people opportunity that if you are a doctoral student or an individual who have received their doctorate degree and want to come in and join PhD Singles on our Facebook page, please do so. If you would like to follow us on Twitter, we do have a Twitter handle which is PhD Singles, and you can also follow us in our YouTube page. We will upload the recordings of all of our blabs there. But we definitely, yes, Einstein Q. We definitely want to hear from the ladies that are logged in. We have about 7 ladies logged in, and they are really, really quiet, which is so unusual because our ladies are never quiet in our PhD Singles group. But again, just putting a plug out there for PhD Singles, and just want to remind you that if you are a member of PhD Singles and you have not yet registered for our upcoming retreat in June, please do so. We will be in North Carolina, and that's coming up June 25th, I think, June 25th through the 27th. So the final point that I wanted to share, I pulled this from or gathered some information from this magazine called the Singular magazine. Kim Colbert, who is the editor of this Singular magazine, and it's a magazine for singles. One of the things that she says is that you might have in a relationship status on your Facebook page, but your boss still thinks you can work overtime because in terms of your employment, you are single and there's an assumption you don't have a life. Oh. Even when you put in that overtime, you may be passed over for promotions because your married coworkers are seen as more stable and mature. I thought that was a pretty powerful statement, and it rings true. I deal with that a lot with even, my workplace, because I'm single, but they keep forgetting that, of course, I have other things like children. But I noticed that there is a different kind of balance that happens between those who are single and those who are not in the workplace. The institutionalized prejudice about being single drives many of us to be in relationships with wrong people for the wrong reason. And it can lead many of us to take that big step into what traditional society says will finally make us successful and happy, and that's marriage. So despite the fact that single people are one of the fastest growing demographics in the world, the old idea still lives that in order for you to be successful, in order for you to be happy, you have to be married. Otherwise, you lose. You only win when you're married. And so as single people, we do have the opportunity to enjoy the independence and freedom that our married friends often envy. We can choose where we want to live. We can choose what kind of car we want to drive, what job to take, how we want to spend our hard-earned money, while they wonder what their lives might have been like if they had the courage and faith in themselves to be the sole proprietor of their lives. So the bottom line is, according to the research, if you are not married, you are single. And the good thing is that it is okay to be single. You have not lost just because you are single. So I want to thank you guys for joining us today and listening into our third Blab session. Our next session is going to be on May 22nd, 2016, Sunday at 6 p.m., same place, same time. And the topic is sex and dating. How long is too long to wait? So again, follow PhD Singles on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, and then follow our author and radio host Andy Brown on Facebook with the online happy hour and iLive Radio. I look forward to seeing you guys again next month, May 22nd, 6 p.m. Eastern.
Thank you much.
All right.
Great talk.